Are you an adult without a college degree who wishes they had a better job? Have you tried to find a better job only to learn you need a college degree to apply? If this category fits you and you happen to be bilingual, I've got some great news. Interpreting may be the right fit. It's a career that allows you to earn a decent income without needing to go back to school. If you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. I'm going to give you the top 3 reasons why I think interpreting is one of the best job options out there for adults without a college degree. Hi, I'm Marisa Ruedo-Will, a certified healthcare interpreter from one of the major medical centers in the U.S. and founder of TICA Interpreter Training and Translations. As a licensed interpreter trainer, I've also worked with interpreters from a variety of language pairs and skill levels. I'm excited to be here today to tell you if you want to become an interpreter, you can do it. All you have to do is take the first step. Please note that in this video and all my videos, none of the opinions shared here are a reflection of the institution I work for. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get to it. All right, as promised, I'm going to give you my 3 top reasons why I believe interpreting is one of the best options out there for adults without a college degree. The first reason is going to be that it's skill-based versus degree-based. Secondly, you'll earn an above-average income compared to other high school graduates, and the job outlook is great. And thirdly, it's going to provide you a lot of flexibility to be able to do what you want. So there are really minimal requirements for becoming an interpreter in the U.S. right now. Basically, you need to be 18 years of age or older, have a high school diploma. So if you don't have one, I would strongly encourage you to work towards your GED to be eligible for this profession. Or if you've graduated from high school in another country, that's completely valid as well. You need to be fluent in 2 or more languages. If you have a high proficiency in one but don't necessarily consider yourself fluent, it's not a deal breaker. I am a strong believer that you are able to change your language proficiency with hard work and dedication, and I'm glad to give you some tips as to how to do that in another video, particularly if you speak a language other than Spanish, which may be in higher demand. Lastly, you need to complete a 40 to 60 hour interpreter training course. Now, some employers, I would just say a few, I'm not entirely sure how many out there provide this, will provide it for you on the job. So while it will set you apart in an interview if you've already got it, it's possible that they might provide it for you, especially, like I said, if you speak a language other than Spanish, which may be in high demand for the region you're living in. Now, I've talked about how it's skill-based versus degree-based, so I wanted to talk to you about what are those specific skills required for the job. And to find this out, I did a survey of the 3 largest language service providers in the country, TransPerfect, Lionbridge, and Language Lion Solutions, and I'm happy to share with you what I found out. First of all, as a common thread in all of these requirements, you need to be able to interpret accurately. Basically, can you interpret without changing the meaning of the message? Secondly, do you have memory skills? So when a client or provider gives you a large amount of information to remember, how do you remember that? I know note-taking is a standard tool in consecutive interpreting, but there are imagery and other visual tools you can use as well. So basically, you need to be able to remember large amounts of information and repeat that back in the other language. You need to have good customer service or soft skills. Make sure you're polite, approachable, using the company lingo, not getting hot-headed, even when somebody is not easy to get along with. Be culturally competent. So if you are from another country originally, you are very well versed in that culture and will be able to help your clients bridge any cultural gaps that may come up. If you are a native of the U.S., you might need to learn about this. And that's something that you can learn about in a 40-hour training course, for instance. And there are a lot of other tools out there that you can find for free or at a reduced price to help you with that too. And you need to be able to pass a language assessment. Now, many of these larger companies have their own language assessments that they want you to pass, or there are just companies out there that offer them. So if you're applying to one company in particular, they may have an assessment that they want you to do. basically to see if you have the skills to be able to interpret. So don't be surprised if you go to an interview and they expect you to interpret something as part of that interview. I would say that's becoming pretty standard in the industry now. And then you need to have basic computer skills. Maybe you think everyone has computer skills because of the day and age we live in, but you'd be surprised how many people still struggle to check their email, etc. So make sure that you are well versed in how to use a computer before you apply for an interpreting job. Now, what are other ways that you can prove your skills? Well, you can get a 40-hour training certificate. So that's going to prove that you understand the basic ethics and standards of interpreting. It's also going to allow you to, it's one of the prerequisites for being able to take the certification exam for medical interpreters. Another way is through language proficiency testing, either through ACTFL, so that's ACTFL, or the ILR, which are two of the main scales used to test your language proficiency. Like, are you a novice? Do you have superior language skills? The ILR does it with numbers, 2+, 3+, etc. You can check their website if you'd like more information. With an interpreter skills test, like I mentioned, there are companies out there, Language Line, Alta, companies that will give interpreter skills tests that you can pass and you can show, hey, I have these basic skills. So it is a little bit of an investment, but it may be worth it if you really need to set yourself apart in a situation. And then lastly, certification. Like I mentioned, in order to be eligible, you'll need to have a 40-hour training certificate and among other things. So at least for medical interpreters, that is really going to set you apart. If you want to interpret in court, it's must if in most, if not all states. As far as educational interpreters are concerned, they're still working on getting their certification process defined. So you don't need to be certified in that setting. And even for medical interpreters, most medical interpreters aren't certified, but it is a credential which is available and just really proves your worth in the industry. So it's worth investing in learning interpreting basics. It really isn't going to cost you that much. I would say you definitely need to invest in a good dictionary. I used mine, wrote all over it, carried it around with me for a while when I started interpreting, and it was super helpful. Now a lot of those resources are online, so just make sure you have a valuable resource that you can check. I really like Word Reference for just a general dictionary, and there are a lot of other sites out there that can be really helpful too. Make sure you find some good interpreter practice scenarios. I used the Acebo series when I was working towards my certification. That's put out there by Holly Mickelson. She studied at the Middlebury Institute, which is a well-known interpreting school, and she has resources available for medical and court interpreters, such as interpreting scenarios you can practice. I think when I bought it, it was like $60 or something. So please check that out. It will greatly benefit you if you want to eventually work towards taking your certification. Make sure you have a recording device so that when you're practicing these scenarios, you can go back and check your work, see how accurate you were, what you need to work on. And if possible, find a mentor in the industry. Reach out to somebody in the field, just ask them, if they'd be willing to talk to you, give you any tips or feedback. It's also a great way to network, maybe get your foot in the door somewhere. Volunteer interpreting is never a bad idea either. So consider that, volunteering at your local Salvation Army or other free clinics. Now, if you do want to take a 40-hour training, but you're like, what is that? Why would I take the time to do that? Just wanted to give you a brief idea what it is. Basically, it's an intro to interpreting. So based off of that course, you'll learn about interpreting ethics, standards, how to conduct yourself in a professional manner, and you'll also get to do some interpreting scenario practice. There are so many different types of programs out there. They cost approximately $650 on average. There are several different formats. Some of them are all online. You can take them at your leisure whenever it's convenient for you. Others are in person or a hybrid, so part online, part in person. And there are different types of programs out there like Bridging the Gap or the Community Interpreter. I teach the community interpreter, and if you'd like to see what my program looks like, feel free to visit my website at tikatrainingandtranslations.com. Also, language proficiency testing may or may not be provided as part of the cost of the course. So, second reason that I think this is such a great profession for those without a college degree or with a high school degree, diploma, is that compared to the national average, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2020, for high school graduates, it was about $39,000 a year. Now, if you compare that to the average that interpreters and translators earned in 2020, you'll see it's a $13,000 difference. So, while interpreters and translators are earning on average $52,000, the average high school graduate is earning about $39,000. So, for a job that only requires a high school diploma, it's really going to give you a decent wage. Aside from that, the job outlook is great. So interpreters and translators have a projected growth of 24% from 2020 to 2030. That means we've got jobs out there for you, and we really need your help. So please consider it, especially if you speak a language other than Spanish. There are a lot of opportunities for you. Now, for Spanish speakers, we've got jobs too, but it's going to be a little bit more competitive. So just be aware of that. And then thirdly, it's flexible. So it's going to provide you flexibility and options. Let's say you don't have a driver's license or transportation is an issue. Working from home is something many interpreters are doing as a result of the pandemic. So you could do video remote interpreting, over the phone interpreting. You could do a combination of the two. A lot of in-person jobs have transitioned to working from home over the last few years, and interpreting is not an exception. You also have flexibility and options as far as the field that you want to work in while interpreting. So if education is important to you, or you have kids and it would be really convenient to follow the school schedule, maybe interpreting for the school district would be ideal for you. Or maybe you're fascinated by medicine and really need benefits. Let's be real. You could apply at a local hospital or clinic and become a healthcare interpreter. Or if you want to really challenge yourself, court and conference do pay a lot more, but they also have more requirements. So you can work your way up to one of those fields if that's something that's on your goal list. Now, let's say interpreting isn't your dream career. I don't understand how it could not be, but let's say for a moment it isn't. It's still a great way to finance your education or help you meet your goals to get you where you want to be eventually. Also, if you get hired at a place where you can get some great references, that's going to be really useful to you in the future also. So don't rule interpreting out if it's not something that you see yourself doing in 10 or 15 years. It could be a great way to earn that money or income that you need to get you where you eventually want to be. And then lastly, it's such a rewarding and challenging career. You really get to help clients communicate their needs. There's nothing more rewarding for me than seeing a repeat patient or provider and having them tell me just how much they value my service. And aside from that, it's going to make you use your brain every day because no 2 days are the same, and there's always something new to learn. So if you're somebody who likes learning new things and being challenged intellectually, this is a great fit for you. Well, I hope this video has been helpful. Please visit my website. If you have learned something from this video and would like to learn more in the future, I'll be putting more out regarding interpreting, so feel free to subscribe and you'll get a little notification next time I've got something for you. So thanks so much, and I will see you next time.